Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. Welcome back to Hanging with Mangg. I was going to stream this, but either my internet's having trouble or I just can't do ultra-wide streaming as far as like my connection is concerned. I don't know. A lot of dropping of frames. So we'll just record this. We're playing World of Warcraft. That's the big exciting thing that's on the verge of releasing. WoW Classic. Tomorrow is name registration. So you can get in your names for your characters. I'm really hoping to get a gnome warrior named Hulk. That's what I'm gunning for. I imagine that's a fairly common name, so I'm not really expecting to get it, but it'd be pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Barring that, of course, I'm just gonna go with Mangg, but that's... I mean, Mangg is fine. I'm quite familiar with it, but we'll see. I released, I put out a video on the Exploring series channel that had nothing to do with lore, which is pretty uncommon. And obviously I didn't have to. I could have just put out like Twitter messages, Discord messages. I could have maybe just done like a community post announcing Exploring series official WoW Classic guild. But I really wanted to throw a wide net out there. Get as many people as possible. So I put out a video just announcing the guild, saying, you know, we're going to be playing Alliance on the Mangg server. If anyone is interested, come join the Discord, blah, blah, blah. And we did have a slew of people join the Discord. Not all of them came because of WoW Classic. Some just saw that and just learned about the Discord server, which happens anytime I mention the Discord server. But it seems like we have a decent number of people interested in trying out WoW Classic. Not all of them are returning players. Plenty of them have never played the original vanilla WoW. And so yeah, a couple weeks time we'll be firing it up. I'll be kicking it off with a LAN party. Old school. We've got like, right now I think it's like 5 people coming to the LAN party, and there's gonna be some pizza and there's gonna be some balls. Can't have a LAN party without balls. And we're just gonna put on a bunch of Linkin Park, things like that, and just have a good time. It's not like a 24-hour thing or anything like that. It's launching at like 5 o'clock. I imagine we'll go till midnight, maybe. I mean, not everyone's gonna stay till like 4 a.m. But I'll probably still be playing till 4 a.m. And so it's just sort of a question, you know, there's a lot of questions revolving around WoW Classic. Will it be as entertaining as I remember? Or How will people who have never played it before think of it as sort of a relic of MMO? Does it still hold up in general? I mean, really, for me, there is nostalgia, of course. No doubt. But also, it's more of like, this is a very, very rare opportunity where I have a big group of friends that are all interested in playing.
You'll need to unlock your phone.
Fuck. A big group of friends are all interested in playing the same video game together. That's like unheard of, really. And not only is it just a video game we want to play together, but it's a big game, you know, that we can play for many hours together. And you know, I got this nice position of having followers that, you know, I can sort of form a nice friendly guild around. And, you know, when I created a guild back in the day, no fat chicks, you know, we had plenty of people in there. We were a molten core raiding guild. I mean, it was a decent size. So it's not like you need to be a YouTuber or something to get things going. Obviously not. But back in the day, I created the guild. I was technically the guild leader. But it was really like my buddy that ran everything. He was older, he was far more outgoing. I think most people just assumed he was the guild leader. But, you know, I got to be there. I got to go on all the raids, and we just had a lot of fun times. And so now I'm older. I get to be a proper guild leader. I don't know exactly how interested I am in being like the raid leader. Hold on. Okay, I think that was a butt dial. Yeah, so I'm older. Still, I'm gonna lead the guild, but leading specific raids and shouting out commands and directions and stuff, I might delegate that to like studs. We'll see. People might not take to him. We'll see. So it's really, you know, a twofold thing of leveling and doing dungeons and stuff with my friends, and then also leading and raiding with this whole Explorers Guild. It should be overall a fun time. So that's in a couple of weeks. I'll probably stream the LAN party, just because it's what I'm doing it. You know, it's happening. There's no reason not to stream it, I think. Assuming I can sort out... I don't know if I'll stream my screen, because I don't know if I'll sort out like ultra wide streaming and stuff, and I definitely want to play in ultra wide because it looks awesome. I don't know how entertaining the stream will be, but it'll probably be there.
What's on your mind?
Moving on then, I guess. Yeah, I wonder why I'm not even like recording in steady 60 FPS. I'll have to look into that. Right. So this week, I mean, it's been a lot of there's been a lot of preparing to move. I've been looking at furniture and, you know, picking out cutlery sets and cleaning and packing and things like that. It's interesting, to say the least. You know, I've never moved before. I've never packed up my life before. Not for like college or anything. It's just pretty wild. I've lived in the same house for like 27 years. And so, you know, there's a lot of just like deciding what's worth taking. I'm not moving into a mansion. I don't have unlimited space. It does help that I'm single, so it's not like I have to deal with other people's crap. It's just all my own stuff. But there's a lot of stuff being thrown away because you either take it with you or it's dumped. So it's like Manggs Movies, like all my DVDs of Manggs Movies. Now, obviously, they're trash. Indisputably trash. But there's some, you know, it's a sentimental thing, I suppose. Weirdly, it's a weird sentiment. Because I have memories associated with Manggs Movies. I mean, for a while, it was like a significant part of my life. Like the 30 days of Manggs Movies I did. That like consumed my life for a month. Where really I didn't think about like anything else. It was just horrible movies. And so I just throw it in the trash. It's like, they're going in the trash. I mean, 85% of them are going in the trash. But I am keeping a few just because it's like, I just can't, like Axum. I just can't get rid of Axum. It's so unique. Like, maybe someday I'll want to show someone Axum. Or The Tomb. The Tomb. I mean, it's the worst film I've ever seen. You don't throw away the worst film you've ever seen. I mean, people love like Plan 9 from Outer Space. They go out of their way to see it because they love how bad it is. I mean, this is sort of similar. Except I would never willingly watch it again, but I might subject it to people. And so you don't throw stuff like that away. Creature, I couldn't throw away Creature, but that's almost not even a Manggs movie. I mean, you got fucking my man Niles kicking ass in that film. How could I throw that away? I debated about Ice Spiders, because it's like the only other Manggs movie I watched twice. But then I decided I don't ever want to see it a third time, and I would never show it to anyone. So that's out. Trying to think of anything else. Like, oh, I kept that 8-pack of horrible movies, primarily because it had Grave Mistake, which I think is a movie pretty close to the so bad it's funny mark. That might be about, maybe I kept something else, but I can't remember. So, you know, stuff like that, where it's like, okay, I can accept to throw out most of this, but there's a few things I just gotta take. That's sort of how it's been. So I'm sure I'm gonna have plenty of clutter at the new place. The hardest thing so far has been... I don't even want to be in here. The hardest thing so far has been picking out chairs. I don't know if I already talked about this or not, but... yeah, I'm getting a new dining table, which is going to double... really more than double as my gaming table for like RPGs. And then I also wanted to get new chairs to like upgrade the chair setup so they're all the same, they all look decent, and they're all comfortable. And if you go with like a matching set, like a dining set, the problem is the chairs are all like dining chairs, which is potentially fine, but I'm like, a big part of gaming and just sitting there for like 4 hours and stuff, you want to lean back, you want to maybe rock a little bit, and you want it to be comfortable. So really, you know, for a while we've just been using like $50 Amazon basic office chairs or desk chairs. They don't look great at all, but they've been comfortable. You know, none of us have complained. And we sort of just want to stick with something like that. So it's like, okay, I want like an office desk chair, but I want it to look good, sort of, and I want it to be comfortable. It's been tricky. My sister is what you'd call, I guess, an amateur interior decorator. Not to imply that amateur means she's bad or she doesn't know what she's doing, but it's just that's not like her job. But she's got an eye for design, so it certainly could be her job. So I've been having her pick out a lot of stuff for me, just because I don't know what the fuck looks good. So I might as well just have her pick out stuff. And it's been a process. I mean, she obviously just wants me to have like a dining chair that looks great. And I have to keep emphasizing the importance of comfort. So I ordered one chair that looked great. It was white. It was a nice white, like, desk chair. It looked sleek. But I found it to be uncomfortable because it was way too narrow. It's a very narrow seat. And, you know, a man's got a man spread. And if you can't do that when you're gaming. I mean, what's the point? So that chair was that's no good. And we continued to look and blah blah blah. You know, I went to stores, I sat in some chairs, like Office Max and stuff like that. My sister thought they were all too ugly because they came in like taupe and stuff and blah blah blah. So I'm like, okay, we'll keep looking. We've been on Amazon, on Wayfair, Walmart, blah blah blah. So then she sent me some other chair that was on Wayfair that it's like a dark gray. It's a desk chair. I mean, it rocks and swings and stuff. I was like, fuck it, I'll just order it to give it a try. I found at first I didn't like it. I thought it leaned back too far. It didn't rock. Like, you just sort of slumped back at a precarious angle. And the padding at the front of the chair didn't seem great. But then I found that if I don't sit back all the way, like I scoot forward, it seems fine. I'm going to give it a try tomorrow night during game night, sit in it for a few hours, and we'll see. I'm not that picky, you know, I'm not going to sit in these chairs that much. It's not like my office chair. But yeah, I mean, you're dropping some decent dollars on this shit. So yeah, it's been a process. I'm excited though. I'm getting pretty excited. When you start packing up your life and you start ordering new furniture and new things, and you start, you know, focusing on the pros rather than any cons. So I think it'll be pretty good. I'm gonna have some nice internet. 980 megabits down, but it's not fiber or anything, so it's like 980 megabits down and like 50 megabits up. Like, it's really imbalanced and I don't get it. So anyways, moving on, we've got plenty to talk about. This week on the Exploring series, I released a Lord Blackwood tale, which went over fine. I didn't think it was that incredible of a tale, but a lot of people liked it, and I've got a lot of people clamoring for more Lord Blackwood, which is a bummer. Well, it's good and bad. It's good that people are clamoring for more videos. It's bad because there really isn't any more Lord Blackwood videos. Or tales. There's one more grand Lord Blackwood tale in that sort of journal style that I enjoy. My hope is that these videos will inspire some people to write more Lord Blackwood tales in that style. I mean, hell, I could write one. It probably wouldn't be very good, though. But I mean, he's an interesting character. I always like the sort of time period type, you know, the late 1800s and stuff like that. And it allows for a lot of, like, you know, I really like the Tarrasque one. Or it's like, oh, the Tarrasque, that sounds crazy. It's fighting a Tarrasque. And then it's revealed that it's, 682. And it's just sort of that interesting twist. And then they throw fucking Abel in there, which is sort of wild, but yeah, I mean, it's just a fun series of tales. I'm sad they're almost over. I also released the full combined video of the Ouroboros cycle. Over 3 hours long. And Volgan told me on Discord, he's like, he told me that doing that is at like risk of demonetization, because that's just reusing content. And I mean, he's right. Like, that's legitimate, because all I did was just take other videos I've done and just put them together, which is frowned upon. I think if it's a one-off, I'm probably safe. Like, I'm not going to take it down or anything like that, but I'm definitely going to avoid doing that shit in the future. But it was just like, partly it was because I wanted to just boost some views. I wanted more views because it was just a fuck ton of work. But also partly because I know that people do just like leave videos on and they fall asleep and stuff like that. So it's a convenience. But yeah, I'll avoid doing that. And then this week I worked on the Vorhole, which is pretty much what it sounds like. I mean, I'm unfamiliar with sort of the meme quality of vorophilia. I mean, I know it exists. I knew what vor was, because I've been on the internet for a while, but I didn't know it was just like a big joke thing. Like, I just don't know what makes it more meme worthy than any other like fetish. I don't know. I have no idea. All I know is that Vorhole is a fairly highly rated SCP. It's co-written by DJ Cactus. You know I'm a Cactus fan. So I put it on the polls. It won the poll pretty quickly. And there we have it. It's not really a jokey SCP, although it did begin as that. It's really just a fucking gross SCP. It involves some fifthist stuff, which is always nice. Body horror, cosmic horror, giant entities. And yeah, there is sort of a sexual angle to it, but I mostly glossed over that. It's an SCP. I actually didn't put Vorhole in the title because I was like, that seems like a fast track to demonetization. So it's the only video without the actual name of the SCP in the title. And then the art was like, what the fuck am I gonna do for art for the Vorhole? So I did what anybody would do, and I googled vor art, which for most people I don't recommend doing that. And though there was like this one prominent artist on DeviantArt, and I used a couple of his pieces because they weren't like, you know, offensive or graphic or anything. But I'm just scrolling through his page and I'm just like, I can't fucking use any of this shit. Not if I want to make money from this video. So I used a couple of his pieces, and then I was like, all right, I can't show what I'm talking about on screen. I can't find artwork that would depict this in any normal way. So I'm like, fuck it, just find a bunch of pictures of sinkholes and put them in there.
What can I do for you? Keep your feet.
I don't know. I think it's a fine video. I think it's a uniquely gross and horrifying SCP. I think it'll do fine. Obviously, I would prefer to have the title in the title. So then people are like, Vorhole, what the fuck? Let me click on this. I mean, that's what you really want, but I'm just not certain enough that I would dodge demonetization. And you could ask, like, creator support. I could message them and be like, hey, if I put this in the title, what's going to happen? And they could say, oh, it'd probably be fine. They don't know shit. They honestly don't know shit. They know as much as I do. So I'm going to just leave it out. Yeah, so that was that. I'm also working on a Warhammer 40k video about the Ultramarines, the most famous of the Space Marines. I don't think that's really a controversial statement. I mean, they're like the mascot of Warhammer 40k. And I don't know, man. Having this side series going on, I'll tell you the real problem. The real problem is Warhammer 40k deserves to be a main series. Warhammer 40k is a series that can dominate an entire channel. SCP is a series that can dominate an entire channel. I'm trying to double dip, and it's a lot of fucking work. There are series that I've covered where the topics for videos are not particularly lengthy or complicated. Like, you go back to my Cthulhu Mythos series. Those videos are like 4 minutes long. I mean, I'm pretty sure I used to crank those out in like a day. I think so. I think I would do those in a day. I was like, once every couple weeks, I would sit down and I was like, okay, instead of recording an LP video today, I'm just going to do this Cthulhu video. That's pretty much what happened. But now you're talking about like Warhammer 40k with these massive fucking topics. I mean, talking about the Ultramarines, you could make a dozen videos talking about the Ultramarines and still not cover everything. And I'm trying to condense it all into one video that I'm trying to finish in a few days over the weekend as a side series. I think the videos are turning out okay, but frankly, the strain that it puts on me is not really okay. So what ends up happening then is I think about, you know, I just finished like an SCP video, the weekend's here, And I'm like, okay, I have to decide, am I doing a Warhammer, am I working on a Warhammer video this week? And I think about, you know, the kind of effort that that's going to put into the weekend instead of just relaxing. And then usually I'm dissuaded because I know how intensive the topics are, how much reading I have to do over the weekend. Reading and writing. And so that means that Warhammer 40k has become a like once a month side series. You do a once a month side series, you put out 12 videos on the topic over the course of a year. That's an insanely small number. If I put out 12 Warhammer 40k videos a year, the amount of time it will take for me to like finish the series is absurd. I mean, you're talking like 6 years. Because Warhammer 40k, like I said, it can dominate a whole channel. I mean, there are people out there that's all they do. They just pump out constant 40k videos on just every topic. It's a massive universe. And so I'm sort of at this split point where it's like, I like for 40k. It certainly could have been a main series. And it certainly could go on. I've barely scratched the surface. But at the same time, if I switch to an easier side series, I could get a lot more done. Conceivably. So it's a pickle. And I'm not exactly sure what I want to do. I mean, obviously, well, that's the thing. Like 40k, if I were a madman and I never wanted to enjoy life, and I only cared about money, which there are people that would do that, that do that. I could just have SCP and 40k running forever. Those are the Exploring series. That's an SCP and 40k channel. That's what he does. And I could just do that and put out 2 videos a week, one on each topic. And then never take a day off and just make a lot of money. I mean, that's an option. It doesn't sound good, but that's an option. Alternatively, I could just keep going with 40k once a month. And all the people crying for some other side series to be covered, they can just deal with it. But really, that's the thing, though. I don't want people to say, "Oh, what's the Exploring series? Oh, he does SCP videos and 40k videos. That's what it's a weird combo. That's his channel." I don't want people to say that. I want people to say, "Oh, the Exploring series, he covers everything. He does all sorts of stuff. He's covered so many different things that he's got something for everybody." That's what I want people to say. And so it's nice that 40k is there and I've made videos on it. And there was like I was just on Reddit. I was just on Reddit. There was like some Warhammer 40k post on like the video subreddit. Like it was like one of those short CG Space Marine videos, and there was a discussion going on in the subreddit in the post, and people were like, "Oh, I really want to learn. I really want to get into 40k lore. What do I just don't know how." And people are like, a lot of people were saying, check out Luton, whatever the numbers are after his name, because he's the big man in Warhammer 40k lore. But there were a few people that said, check out the Exploring series. And that's awesome. That's always what you want. That's always what I've wanted. To see someone say, I want to get into this lore. What do I do? And the response is, oh, check out the Exploring series. I mean, you can't get better than that. So that's great. But it's conflicted. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. I honestly have no idea. I think it's probably safe to say that Warhammer 40k will be ending probably before the end of the year. And I did say after Warhammer, I was going to do just a handful of videos about some previous topics, like a Star Wars video, a Middle Earth video, maybe a Norse video, or an Elder Scrolls, something like, just a collection of random stuff, just to get back to some previous things that I missed out on. And then, October's coming up. In October, I always throw in some, horror topics. Like the Zodiac Killer, or the Manson family, or, stuff like that. I like doing that kind of stuff. It's not great for views, but, it's October. It's a special month. When I put out the WoW Classic video yesterday, a bunch of people were confused and thought I was starting a lore series on WoW Classic, which doesn't really make any why would I know I put the title as Exploring World of Warcraft Classic, because I just couldn't think of a better name, a better title. But honestly, what sense does that make? The lore of WoW Classic? Why would I? Ridiculous. These people also did not watch the video. But it did get me thinking that maybe I should do an introduction to Warcraft lore for WoW Classic, meaning, a summarized video of Warcraft lore, specifically for people about to play WoW Classic that are unfamiliar with any Warcraft lore. I don't know the exact amount of people that would be, but there's probably a handful. And so it wouldn't cover anything past vanilla WoW. It would just be setting the scene for what's happening at the start of vanilla WoW. So mostly it would be sort of a primer on Azeroth and the various races and factions. It's just sort of a topical thing that could net a bunch of views. I certainly want to do a full series of Warcraft lore. I've been championing that for a while, but that will probably wait a while, whereas right now WoW Classic is going to be at a fever point. It could be worthwhile. Anyways, enough exploring series talk. I've mentioned it enough. This week on this channel, we had Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Welcome to vanilla fucking WoW. I get that was a level 8 wolf. I suppose that's fair. Bloodstained and Final Fantasy Tactics A2. I don't think there's too many videos left on Final Fantasy Tactics, and then we'll be done. And there was a game released on Steam this week that I really, really, really want to Let's Play. It's called... it is called... Once I bring up Steam and tell you the name, it's called Gibbous. a Cthulhu adventure.
It all started.
And it's got it's like this really traditional animated style point and click adventure with a Lovecraftian theme and sort of comedic, but that's fine. I mean, right now it's rated as very positive. There's a lot of positive reviews here. It doesn't seem to be like an incredibly lengthy game. It looks good, and I really want to play it. So we're gonna have to squeeze that in somewhere. Probably after Final Fantasy Tactics is done. And then it'll be that and Bloodstained until Control comes out, and then it'll probably be Control and gibbous, or who knows how it'll work out. It'll work out. But yeah, I really want to play through that. That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it with this channel. Nothing too exciting going on. As for board games, I played a little bit of Keyforge this week with my mom. And I think it's a pretty interesting game. I certainly think it's got some merit. The problem is, though, that when it comes to just straight up card games like Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering or something like that, I drastically outclass my mom. And so the thought was okay, I can just keep switching decks, because Keyforge, you just get boatloads of decks. They're always different, and it's about adapting. So I can always just sort of adapt and just keep switching decks. Maybe I get a shitty one, who knows. Whereas she will stick with a single deck and get just good at it. The problem is I'm really good at adapting to new decks, and coming up with combos on the fly, whereas she will never think of a combo. So it's really just imbalanced. She has yet to forge a single key, of which you need 3 keys to win a game. So it's really imbalanced, and that's not good. So I don't know how long that's gonna last. I'm hoping to pick up that Marvel Champions card game when it comes out. Co-op is a lot better. But, yeah, once I move out, who knows how much we're really going to play anything. Okay, last week, I told you that the prior week, we did not do an RPG. I lied. I had completely forgotten. I think Gen Con had just sort of wrapped my mind up. So I had completely forgotten that we had done a session before Gen Con. And it was a doozy of a session. We were in New Orleans, and we were about to head in to steal these miniature nuclear reactors. And as you probably know, I had been scheming this whole time to just steal one of them and blow up the rest, and then blow up the one that we stole back in London. So everything gets blown up. That was my plan that I was scheming to do. I can tell you now that the plan went off completely without a hitch. Which doesn't happen too often, that you have a plan that goes off completely well. I mean, the DM is there to throw wrenches in the engine. So Ziggy must have partly wanted this to happen, I think. But I guess it didn't go off completely according to what I wanted, but pretty close. So we had decided that we're going to take this miniature submarine we bought, and instead of any of us riding in it, we're just going to... We're going to take out the seats. And it's just going to hold one of the reactors, and we're going to remotely pilot it in the water. So none of us actually have to be in it. So we took out the seats. Blah, blah, blah. Then we decided, you know, Thomas's contact had given him this formula for a special coolant for the reactors. So that even if they were taken out of, like, their liquid cooling base, this coolant would keep them functioning rather than going nuclear or whatever. So it's like, okay, well, we might as well make the coolant just in case, because if we're only stealing one, we want to make sure that it gets back in working order. So it's like, all right, we got to make this coolant. Well, we need chemicals, we need a lab. The facility we're trying to break into probably has both the chemicals and the lab, but that doesn't really work for us. So we decided the best bet for getting a lab with chemicals is the local high school. You know, some Breaking Bad shit. So we go to the local New Orleans high school. There's some hooligans, like, on the front steps. So we all get out, you know, we're packing heat. I'm in, like, a full military hard suit. You know, and we're expecting these kids to just bounce. A couple of them do run away. But one of the two that sticks around pulls out his phone and starts recording. So I shoot him in the face. Perhaps that was a little bit hasty, but considering what we're about to do to New Orleans and the world, not really that big of a deal. He would have died anyways. He would have died anyways. I just gave him a quick death instead of like a Chernobyl death. All right? Give me a break. Anyways, we stomp into the school. You know, we have Mert and Studs on lookout. Thomas and I go in. There's a bunch of, like, bums lurking around the school. A few of them are packing heat. I start mixing up the stuff. Some bum starts shooting at us. Thomas, like, puts them down. Eventually, I get the coolant made. Of course, Gug does love some explosions, so I blow up the lab and I sort of blow up the school. It would have been destroyed anyways. Just trust me, it's all fine. Maybe some bums died in the explosion. I don't know. Anyways, everything's set, so we head towards the facility. Now, we're doing this sort of underwater incursion. They've got patrol boats along the river. We're going to go under it with the submarine, go under the boats, slip into the facility, and by the time we blow into the facility with explosives, it's too late for them to really do anything to stop us. That was the plan. Of course, the plan was upset a little bit by the fact that they had this sort of like electrical mesh or some sort of technological mesh in the water that sort of protected access to the facility, which makes sense. So anything that touched it set off an alarm that went to like the patrol boats, and so they went over with spotlights. So we really didn't stay silent for too long, because I couldn't hack this grid There's no access point that I could access without triggering an alarm. If I was inside the facility, probably, but we decided not to go for the inside man. We have Studs posted up on land with a sniper rifle. So he starts assisting us. We sink a couple boats. We float in towards the facility underwater. We blow open like a wall. The facility starts flooding. And we swim in. Now at this point, they're pretty well aware that shit's going down. But, you know, the facility is flooding, making conventional firearms useless. So we head towards the reactor room. They send in like a few agents with harpoon guns. Thomas pulls out an underwater pistol. Because he looked this up online. He's like, do they make underwater pistols and guns and stuff? And they did. All of these underwater guns and stuff were made during the Cold War. Apparently that was a hot time for underwater firearms. They really haven't touched it since. Although apparently there's like special ammunition you can buy that will function better underwater. But he didn't see that, and he just pulled out his underwater pistol using a move. Ziggy was fine with it. He puts down the guys with the harpoon guns. We pack up one of the reactors. We load it up with the coolant, and I rig, one of the other reactors to blow with the uranium that I stole. It's gonna blow big. We hightail it out of there. We get picked up by a contact with a helicopter. Really, no problems. The helicopter flies us to our contact point, which is like a freight ship on the coast. The captain wants to know what the hell we're bringing aboard his ship. I mean, he knows he's supposed to escort us and the package, but he wants to know what the package is. So I think we tell him it's a nuclear reactor. We set sail, and like 45 minutes after we set sail, I detonate the reactor. It blows big. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. America's fucked. As we're sailing back to London with our nuclear reactor in tow, I make some secret actions with Ziggy. And so Gug goes up to the submarine, and the nuclear reactor is being guarded constantly. So I go up to the guards and I tell them that I need to inspect the reactor for any leaks. There could be, some radiation seepage, and that would be pretty bad. I pass my roll, thank God. I get in there, and I rig this nuclear reactor with plastic explosives as well. Now this, I don't have any uranium left, so it's not going to be quite as big, beautiful of an explosion that'll fuck over a whole country, but it's going to mess London up pretty good. None of the other players are aware of this. I mean, they know that I'm doing something secretive, but this is beyond their imaginations. We get back to London, and we deliver the reactor. And our handler tells us that we have been promoted to B team or something like that. I think it's B team, which is one step below the best of the best. And so B team means we get higher priority jobs. We've got like, I think we have our own personal plane. We get more money. We get new cyber tech, stuff like that. And this is where Ziggy put sort of the wrench in the engine of forcing me to make this choice between accepting this nice corporate gig or destroying London. Gug is a man of conviction. He's not going to be swayed by this bullshit. But then he also says that the team he's going to have some engineers inspect the reactor, and if everything is fine, then we will get paid. Meaning that, again, I either have to let them find the explosives, which I'm sure I could pass off as a lie that maybe they planted as a countermeasure or something, and that would let us get paid and then go on to beat the B team, or I have to blow it up without getting paid for the job, which again Gug is fine with, but the other team's really going to be unhappy. The rest of the team's really going to be unhappy. Ultimately, like I said, I put this plan in motion. I have to see it through. So I leave the meeting. I had already booked a plane ticket while we were on the boat. So I'm immediately getting on a plane to Hong Kong. And I sent a text message to the others that said, all it said is, get out of England now. So not just London, England, just to be safe. They're all very confused. They try sending Gug more messages and calling him and stuff, but I don't respond to anything. And they're just like, well, fuck, get out of here. So they all book a plane, they head to Germany. Well, on the plane to Hong Kong, I detonate the reactor, and London is done. And that's where we ended. So, Stud's out of character was fine. He was fine with it. In character, he said that his character would probably be pretty pissed, but he would hear Gug out. So I think that's pretty good. Mert doesn't seem to be bothered by any of it. So that's fine. Phil wasn't even there, so who knows? I don't know if he'll even join us again. The only one that was really bothered in-game and out-of-game was Thomas. And he really said he has no idea why his character would ever work with Gug again. Because he was really about that corporate life. He was working this whole time to get to the B team, and I just blew up the entire fucking company. I sympathize, certainly. And like I said, this is the exact sort of behavior I told myself I would stop doing. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was a good, fun thing I did. But it was an incredibly unique thing I did. And that's often an experience I try to accomplish, is something unique. And they all survived. I mean, I think that's an improvement on my part. They all survived. And, Gug is going to try and convince him. He wants to work with them. These guys it's a good crew. I mean, the corps are the enemies. That's just the bottom line of Cyberpunk. The corps are the enemies. And they'll try and ply you and try and convince you to work for them. But, it's better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven, I guess. We don't need them. We'll get way more money without them. We'll be way more successful without them. And we won't be anyone's bitches. It's just better. This is just a better choice. Now, it's unfortunate we didn't get paid. It's unfortunate that I had to make the choice for everyone. And you might raise the question of, if Gug is so certain that this is the right thing to do. And they will all see that. Why didn't he convince them and tell them about the plan beforehand? And the truth is, of course, that if I told them my plan, they would probably fucking killed me. So I guess in that case, it's better to beg forgiveness than to ask permission. Yeah, I'm not like, look, I'm not like overjoyed with the way this played out. Because I understand, like I said, this is the behavior I told myself I would stop. It's a compulsion. I can't help it. So, perhaps it certainly would have been better if we had just all played along nicely and worked for the Corp and shot our way up and I just was a real team player and all that. But keep in mind, I did start as that. I didn't start as Gug this time, specifically because of this. I started as Artemis, who was a real team player. The only problem was he died in the first mission. So I gave it a good shot. But this seems to work out better. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, he's not like really pissed off or anything, and it didn't end the campaign. We're definitely interested in going further and seeing where this goes. And so I told Ziggy that Gug is going to be... He's going to be looking for a job. A lead. He doesn't have to be hired for it. He could just find a lead that he wants to follow himself. But he wants it to be ultra high risk, ultra high reward. And I want to just plan this, I want to plan my fucking ass off to do this job properly. So I can show them that, look, we can make way more money without the corpse just working on our own. So, and I'm going to tell them, like, look, you have every right, every reason to just ditch me and go off on your own. But, you know, work with me on one more mission. Let's do one job, and if you're unsatisfied, then we can part ways. But you're going to be satisfied. So I think this next mission we do in this new world is going to be a real fucking doozy. I think Ziggy's going to bring the challenge, and I'm going to have to rise to meet it. Which is awesome, really. I mean, a challenging mission that I have to plan out perfectly. That sounds like a hell of a lot of fun. So we'll see. We'll see how it all goes down. Wild stuff. Wild stuff, man. All right. I think that about wraps us up here. Check out the Vorhole. If you would be so bold, tomorrow. Video on the Ultramarines coming later this week. We've got more Bloodstained, Final Fantasy Tactics A2, all that good stuff. That should do it. My name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. I'll see you fine folks next week.